it comes to the TV show Ripley, I'm going to be completely honest and say I found it to be quite the watch. Firstly, I was really intrigued by the plot. I think it was a lot of edge of your seat moments, especially towards the end. I really enjoyed the character of Tom Ripley. I found him to be a very clever and manipulative person, and even when he's backed into the tightest of spots, he's always able to find a way out. I really enjoyed as the show progresses, we see Tom's paranoia becoming more rapid to the point he's having dreams of his victims either coming to life or being found. What I really enjoyed about this show is the theme of art being quite a huge thing, whether it's just seeing the art and the characters enjoying it, whether the parallel actions between the artists and the image they're displaying with the characters' actions, or the actual art of the camera angles that we get, having this cool artistic flair throughout the show. The violence, whilst very brief, to me was quite shocking, especially in the very early episodes, as to me it was very unexpected but also brutal as well. One of my favourite things about this show is seeing Tom diving into this wealthy culture, but the more he also goes into his criminality, the less of the wealth culture he dives in, as we're seeing him having to go to lesser locations to be a bit more discreet and hide in plain sight, and we're seeing him going into lesser locations to the point that it somewhat replicates the location he was in the very beginning of the show, that being in New York in quite a rundown area. Now when it comes to the finale, I will say I found it to be a very intriguing way to end it, but I am of two minds. We'll get to that. I really enjoyed how Tom, it looked like he was about to be exposed, but if anything he got away with the majority of stuff that happened, and we see him just enjoying life. Now I'm in two minds of that, because on the one end I really wanted to see him being caught, like his manipulation and his cleverness would be his downfall. There's a great moment in which I thought that would be the case when he's reading the letter, but alas that was not the case. But also at the same time, I'm kind of glad, because I do like the fact that he was able to play this long con against the rich people and was able to come out on top. When it comes to criticisms, I do have my fair share. The first and main one was how slow the show was, not only in pace, but I felt the story wasn't moving that much, especially in the first 3 episodes. So after episode 3, the pacing gets a bit better, and whilst I say not much really happens, when something does happen, the tension before it gets to that moment is so long and it's overbearing at times. My second criticism is about certain creative camera angles, which there is a lot of, but I felt like they were a bit unnecessary to an extent, as they also drag these creative camera angles. Now again, some are built for tension and they work exceptionally well, but sometimes I feel like they drag a scene on too long and it just feels unnecessary in every regard. My third and final criticism is I felt when it comes to the art, I personally am not someone that really is knowledgeable about art, and I felt they didn't do a great job of dumbing it down, to the point that I felt a bit patronised watching the show, as I'm not that artistically knowledgeable, and so when they're making these parallels I didn't quite understand it at first, but that might just be me. Now overall, when it comes to the show, I will say it was a great watch. I really loved the characters, I really loved the camera angles, the plot, but I just felt the show was a bit slow, especially in the first 4 or 5 episodes, and it took a bit of a while to pick up. For me anyway. But is this show good? The answer, yes, it's very good. Rating wise, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now when it comes to would I rewatch it, I'm going to be honest, it's a no, plain and simple. That's not to say I didn't enjoy the show, it's just I got what I did out of it and I thought it was good. But that's not to say I didn't want to see other adaptations. I watched the film to somewhat make comparisons, and after watching the film I can clearly say that I think the TV show beats it by a clear mile. Now, when it comes to recommendations, obviously I think the film you start off with to make comparisons. Now, whilst I do enjoy both, I think the show is better because it dives more into the criminal elements than the romance and wealth aspect, even though that is a huge thing as well. My second recommendation would be Hannibal, simply for the creative camera angles we get throughout. I think they did an amazing job with that. You can see it in Hannibal's very early on in the first season, but especially in the second and third series we get more of it. My next recommendation is Sneaky Pete. Again, about being a con man and having to juggle both of those lives whilst at the same time trying to commit a crime. And then lastly, American Psycho. Again, about manipulation and wealth, but also at the same time, I just saw parallels when in Ripley he is carrying Freddy's body out of the hotel, reminding very much like an American Psycho. Those are my recommendations. This has been my review for the TV show Ripley. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed, please like and subscribe, but most importantly, thank you and have a nice day.